Hi, I'm Tiffany from Daisy Farm Crafts, and today I would like to give you a tutorial for my modern granny blanket. This would be the third blanket I've made with this pattern, and previously when I didn't have as very many good tech skills for recording, I have learned a lot since I've started this website. I just was able to show you basically how the stitch was worked. But I've since been emailed and have read a lot of your comments, and you want to know exactly how the blanket starts and how to get one started. So today that is what I'm going to show you, and it will work. The pattern is the same whether it's for the peach and blue or the peach and silver one, gray one. I am using the same stitch. The difference is at the end of this video though, I'll show you how I'm doing the pom-pom border on this one. And I'm going to call this one like a boho modern granny. I just think the colors turned out really modern looking, and I love the pom-pom here. So anyway, thank you for your feedback, and thank you for always just leaving such nice comments, and I get good feedback from you all, and I really appreciate that. I'm just here designing in hopes to become a grandma. I have all that story written on my blog if you'd like to go and read that. I love to share what I'm making, and it's just been fun to have so many people along on the journey. A lot of my blankets I just love that you have loved the patterns, the gingham, the modern granny, the boxed block. I know a lot of you have made those blankets, and gosh, that is just so much fun. So anyway, enough of me talking, and let me get to showing you how to start this modern granny. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is that the pattern repeat is 3 plus 1. And the other thing that you need to know, and that I encourage for all of my blankets, especially if you are not familiar with crochet, or this is, even if you are experienced with crochet, but this is a new pattern to you, please do a practice swatch. So that's where I'm starting you here today. It's a little bit tricky to get the sides of this blanket to stay straight, and because the triangles are nestled in between each other, so each row ends differently. So we will just be doing a practice swatch, and that should at least get you to be able to start your own blanket. So I've got 16 stitches. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. So the pattern says double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. That and as I've said before, I like going underneath the first 2 loops like that. And this chain 3 then now counts as one of your double crochets right there. Now you're going to skip 2 chains, and you're going to put 3 double crochets into the next. 2, 3. Okay, next you are going to now repeat that. Skip 2 chains and work 3 double crochet right here. All into the same spot. This is the bottom half of the little triangle. Okay, repeat it again. Skip 2, work 3 double crochet, all into the same chain space. Okay, now here we are at the end. You're going to skip 2, and this time, instead of doing 3, you're just going to work 2. And this mimics the first 2 double crochet that started the round. One is the chain 3 turning chain and a double crochet. And here we are. So we always want to, at least that is one tip for this blanket. Each row begins and ends with the same number of double crochet, even though this chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So you've got 2 and then 3 in the middle. Okay, here we go, row 2. You're going to chain 3 and turn. Now you will work 1 double crochet into the top of this one because the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So here we are, we still have 2 stacked on top of each other. Now all you're going to do is chain 2 and double crochet 3 together in the tops of those double crochets. So here's 1, just work through 2 loops. I'm going into the top of the next one, going through 2 loops, and here's the last one. I'm double crocheting 3 together across those 3 double crochet. All right, now to finish it, I will chain 2, just like I just did over there. Work, double crochet 3 together across the tops of those 3. Pull through. Last time. Pull through. Okay, now here we are at the end of the row. So to finish it, we're just going to mimic what we started. Chain 2, and instead of working across 3, we're going to finish with just 2. So here's 1 double crochet, and sometimes instead of working into the tops of the turning chain, I'm a little bit of a cheater and I just go underneath them. But you do the way you've been taught. I usually am going back with a border, so it doesn't bother me as much. But if you'd like to go into the top of that turning chain, you may do this. Okay, this is where the pattern changes. For this particular boho blanket, we are going to do 6 rows of all the same colors. In my other blankets, you would switch to a new color right here. But let's keep going. So now this is how it's different though. We are going to chain 3 and turn. But instead of working another double crochet right there, we're going to keep this just a single because we're going to work right into this space and work our 3 separate double crochets. So this block or row of triangles, actually, I'll show you the counting. This is where it will get a little tricky. You'll have to remember, this row is just a little bit different. Okay. Sorry if it looks like I'm going fast. I'm just working regular double crochets. Here's the last one. All right. Ending with 1 double crochet in the top of this little turning chain, which again, I'm just gonna go under. I don't mess with it. Okay, so can you see the difference then? There's only 3 full triangles in that first row, but in this row there'll be 4. So I want you to remember that when you get later on in the pattern, you'll until you get it completely memorized. The rows that end with just 1 double crochet on either end have 1 more set of diamonds. Okay, so we're going to chain 3, actually chain 4, because this will count as just that extra space to cover over there, because we're going to go right into double crochet 3 together across the top and finish off our triangles. Chain 2, right there, chain 2, and I'm just working regular double crochet. If I'm going too fast, that's just all it is. I just go through the first 2 loops and then cluster them together. Okay, one last one. Maybe I'll slow down for you that just need to see this. I just go under 2, yarn over, go through 2, keep them all on my hook, go through 2, pull through. Now I'll chain 1. This mimics exactly how I started. And I'm a cheater. I'm going to go right underneath that and work my 1 double crochet. Okay, I'm going to chain 3 and turn, and here is where I'm going to go back to adding 2 double crochet. So I will work right into the top of that last double crochet. Right at the base, I've chained 3, and then there's that stitch right there. That's the stitch I'm going to work into and get my 2 double crochet at the end of this row. Okay, this is row 5. Now I am going to skip over these right here, and I'm just going to work my 3 double crochet, just like that. Yeah, and no extra chains or anything in between these ones. Just going across, working in the around those chain 2 spaces. Here we are with the one that's left. So instead of working 3, you need to work 2, because that's how we started the row. That's where I'm saying that it gets a little bit tricky. You're going to get in a groove and be like, oh, I'll just put 3. But if you put 3, you're going to start adding triangles, and you don't want to do that. All right? Because look, in the rows that have the 2, you only have 3 sets of triangles. So we have 2 on each end, 3 sets of triangles. Don't be tempted to do 3 right here. The blanket will start going crooked. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to go chain 3. We will finish putting the second one over here. So the sides of this blanket, I'm not exactly pleased with it. I do a border with it. I just cover up those sides because it's the only way I could figure out to get these the way to nestle. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. We are on row 6. If you're following along on the written pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is row 6, where it says chain 3, 1 double crochet into the next double crochet. That's what we did. Chain 2. Now work these double crochet 3 together. Chain 2. So do you see why I just really encourage you to do a practice swatch? This is tricky, and I would hate for you to have chained 150 or whatever and get to the end, and then it's so confusing to count. It's much quicker. This is a really quick pattern that works up. Look, we've already got 6 rows done. Just please, I beg you, do a practice swatch. And then your blanket will turn out beautiful once you know how to do this. Okay, so at the very end, you end with 2 chains and 1 double crochet into each of the next double crochets, but of course that chain 3 is counting as a double crochet. Here I am cheating again, going just in the loop, and that's it. Okay, so what would come next? Well, for my blanket, I'm going to be changing colors, but would be repeating again. I would repeat rows, basically rows 3, 4, 5, and 6 over and over, because my next stitch would be these chain 3 and working right in this space. Okay, so that's all that is for this pattern. Now I'm going to show you how to work the pom-pom. Okay, I would like to show you how I get the pom-pom border started. So I'm going to go to a corner that will have me working up one of the sides. I'm only putting pom-poms on the ends of the blanket, and I'm having the blanket run more vertical. So this is specific to this boho blanket, but you can use this border on anything if you wanted to, and if you wanted to do it around, I don't see why you couldn't. Okay, so I pull up a loop in the corner and I go ahead and I just chain one. I usually keep the tail up underneath there, and I go in again and I make my first single crochet. I've kind of crocheted over it. Now I'm going to be working 2 single crochets per the side of each double crochet post that ran along the side. So I work 2 around each one as evenly as possible. Oops. The yarn I'm using here is Caron Simply Soft, and it is my favorite for this blanket. I think it just makes the blanket look the best. Okay, so that's all I do because I'm just going up the side. I chain 1 and I turn. Now I'm going to single crochet right into that very first stitch. I'm going to chain 3. Then I'm going to skip 2 and go into the next space. Chain 3 again. Oh, go into that space with a single crochet. Skip 2, single crochet into the next. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet into the next. Now on this very last one, because I'm not a math person and I'm not about to do all the counting and figuring, and especially you will have made your blanket so many certain rows and you'll do your color changes the way you want to do your color changes. Don't get obsessed if this doesn't turn out evenly. It doesn't really matter. It won't show. It doesn't. You'll either be 1 short or it'll turn out perfectly. So I'm 1 short and I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to skip over 1 and go into the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Now here's where the pom-pom part comes in. So all you do is slip stitch into that hole, the chain 3 space. Now chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're going to double crochet 5 together in the 4th chain from the hook. So that means, if you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm going to work underneath those 2 loops right there. And I'm going to work 5 double crochet together, which just means yarning over, inserting my hook, pulling up a loop, yarning over, and just pulling through 2. Okay, this is my 3rd one. This is my 4th one. And here's my 5th one. Oops. Now I'll yarn over and pull through all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on my hook. Now I'll immediately yarn over and I'll go into the next chain space just below it. Okay, and sometimes if I can't, it's a little tight to catch those 2 loops. It doesn't really matter. Don't waste time. Just go through the loop that's showing because you really can't see it and it doesn't matter. Here we go, that's my 3rd one. I'm still just pulling through 2. Here's my 5th one, right? And now I'm going to pull through all 6 loops on the hook. Now you sort of have these 2 halves, right? And you want them to stick together. They're kind of naturally going together. So all I do is I find the post of that last one I made and the post of this one, and I slip stitch them together. And then I slip stitch right back to the base chain, or to that little chain 3 hole, and I've got a pom-pom. Now I'm just going to slip stitch over to the next space, chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll show you one more, and then I think you've got it. You're on your way to making cute little pom-poms. So 4th chain from the hook, 1, double crochet 5 together, 2, 3, 4, and 5, pull through, double crochet 5 together in that next chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pull through. The two halves kind of naturally want to come together, so I just, you know, find that spot, go under those two posts, pull them together, slip stitch them down so they're more secure, and be on my way to the next stitch. Okay, so I think you've got it. That's not much more than that. Let me show you the finished blanket. I mean, I'm still working on it, actually. I've got a few more to go, but I have one side of it completely finished, and that's how I did it. This is how it will look. I did it in white, and I'm going to, you know, when you're finished, weave in all the ends, and then since my blanket this is considered the top, but feel free, I would guess if you wanted to do it in the corners, I would just start a whole new row maybe, or I guess you could continue around. Just make sure you put 3 single crochet in the corners and make a special 3 chain loop for the corner so that you'd have a pom-pom right there. I think that would look nice. Okay, thank you so much. I really hope this pattern makes sense. I suggest that possibly just follow, maybe have the written one right by you, and then follow this video, and then once you get it memorized, it's really not that difficult, and it does work up so fast. Okay, thank you so much, and we will see you soon.